Okay. Are you ready?
This is it.
Oh,
We're in it.
we're here.
Oh, man. So today we thought well, it was your idea yesterday that we should interview each other because we want to do a series.
Yes.
Yeah. And
What's
you know
the
what?
series called?
One person at a time.
One person at a time.
Yeah. It could be multiple, I guess. I guess it really depends how you want to do it, but it's more about meeting someone new, bringing someone different into your mental space and kind of seeing what you guys have in common rather than seeing what you have different, like the differences. A little rudimentary, I guess, but
Yeah.
I like the starting off point because we share on the podcast, but I don't think I share too much like outside of the podcast. Like I'm not really on social media, and we share on our Instagram, Comfort is a Coffin, but feel like people don't really know us. If someone does listen, and if someone does know us, it's probably a friend of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe they know what our brain is like on Instagram. Maybe they have like a certain interpretation because with the post I put in the past, I don't know if people imagined this.
Imagined like how we would look, or
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or it's like it just puts a face to the post or whatever, or the
to
Instagram.
like the writing, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's the best way to say it, I suppose. Well, I guess we, as like part of the series, we wanted to interview each other. It was your idea to interview me. Would you want to just interview me, and then I interview you, and we do separate episodes, or should we just interview each other?
Let's just do one in case our friends get exhausted.
Yeah.
And also the people who probably talk to us often. Don't want to make them suffer through another hour of that if they don't have to. But I guess we can ask the question and ask them back to each other, maybe.
Okay.
If
that works. Yeah.
Or we can, like we naturally do, go off on a tangent and find more things about us.
Yeah. Well, okay. I have a question ready.
Okay.
Unless you have a question ready.
I'm not ready. Go.
This is like a vague one in a way because I don't really. Well, you know what? I won't share. I'll ask. What's the first memory you recall?
My first memory ever?
Yeah.
I remember being carried in a blanket, like almost like, I don't know if you remember or like seen in the shows where someone has like a stick, like they're running away from home and they have a stick and then like a little like bag at the end of it, the way it's tied up. So like I was like in a blanket like that being carried on someone's back. Or I guess like, kind of like someone
swaddled?
kidnapped me. Yeah.
Okay.
So like they had me on their back and it was my tia who was carrying me to the neighbor's house to be babysat.
Okay. Wow.
And I would wake up on my neighbor's couch sometime. Like, what? And I love my neighbors. They were great people. They had daughters themselves, like around my age. So it's not like they were complete strangers, and we've known them since they had moved in to Coachella Valley. And
we might bleep that one.
Yes, please.
Yeah, but your neighbors?
My neighbors, they were really nice to us, obviously, and if not, my parents wouldn't have left me with them. But yeah, that's my earliest memory. Like, I think maybe it was in the fall when I remember that one.
Okay.
But I think I was maybe around 4, 3.5, around there.
Okay. I guess you don't even have to ask me. We could just share.
Yeah, when's your first memory? Like the earliest thing?
The earliest thing, geez, I don't really know, but the earliest I can recall, I think, is this weird memory. It's like I'm in a bathroom. And like I see these little flies. They're like these little black flies, like tiny little gnats almost, but like the wings are pretty big in comparison to their body, and it's see-through, and they have a very distinct look, almost like a roundish look.
Oh.
And I remember just being in a bathroom and seeing them pop up and not knowing why, and I was just like, whoa. And I don't know, that's a weird memory. It's always kind of, when I was growing up, I would think about that and be like, what was that?
Was that remember. In Mexico?
In Mexico, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was in Mexico. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, that's how I'm trying to pronounce it every now and then.
Yeah. That's probably good. I mean, yeah, it's a good thing. But yeah, it's funny though. I see some of those now, like, and I realize it's in a bathroom that has, how the bathrooms have the little hole to not let it overflow.
Yeah.
When moisture gets in there, it just kind of creates. Well, I mean, I see little bugs come out of there every now and then in some bathrooms,
Oh.
and it's those same little flies. So I was just like, oh, maybe it was a bathroom that stood out, and all I remember were the little flies that were coming out of the
Hmm.
moisture hole.
Were
So
you alone in this bathroom?
yeah, I was by myself as far as I can remember. I don't remember any people being around me.
How old? You said 3?
Probably I didn't. I don't know if I said, but I think I must have been like 3 or 4.
I have a short memory. Sorry.
No, but maybe, yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, it's an odd memory. I don't associate it with any negative like feelings or anything. Just is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say that often.
Yeah.
Kind of funny. Um,
Let me think.
well, what's simple? What's your favorite color?
Gray.
Oh, dang, I like that. Gray.
Gray. Because, well, one for me, because I like gray. I like how it's just chill.
But
Like versus like black. I love black the most to like to wear it. Like black is like
I
my
guess that would be like if someone asked you, is black your favorite color? I guess technically it is a color, like a color dye, but technically it's like the
a
lack
shade
the lack
color
of color of light, right?
into the abyss. Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah. But for me, it's like I love those colors. I love black the most. Like I love wearing it the most more than anything because I know my brain is like saying like this fits. This is correct. There's nothing odd about your wardrobe today, so we don't have to freak out. We don't have to be worried about how we look, you know?
Black on black.
Black on black. Yes. And with gray, like from what I've noticed with like my body, it like makes me feel like I look good, but like only like as a top or something, but like in terms of like decorating a home, like I prefer a little bit of grays in there or
Mm.
like some space with gray so I can like feel
How
like
do you feel about white in terms of like furniture in the gray? Talking about a home.
for white, I'm okay with it. It's just not for me all the time because I feel like it's missing something. I feel like I have to
Color.
decorate it and yeah,
It's missing everything.
I'm missing color or just some sort of like excitement. I don't know. Like I do love white. It's pretty in terms of decorations, but it probably doesn't make me feel like how I want to feel
Yeah.
in my environment. How about you? What's your favorite color?
I'm thinking because I knew the question was gonna come back, so I'm like, I don't know, green or blue,
Okay.
but like I suppose it'd be different for certain things. Like you gave me this really cool cup that's like green with like black, and I really really love it. But then on a guitar, for example, I couldn't see myself wearing like a green or blue guitar necessarily.
Oh,
Like, and I like more like reds and auburny type colors like
yeah.
sunburst, orange maybe. But I don't know. It depends what it's for, but usually for like a home environment, blue, maybe splash of green every now and then.
I like blue. I like a lot of teal.
Oh,
I
teal's
like
good. Yeah. That's probably it to some extent. Like a certain shade of teal, I think I'm set.
yeah, me too. Do you feel like colors kind of like have an effect on your personality?
Um Probably. Yeah, I feel like they do. I haven't really gone to try that out too much in terms of like painting a room and like living in it. Well,
Yeah.
I guess I could have, but later in life I wasn't like a priority. But I remember when I was a kid, there was like twice that it happened where I painted my room and then we actually ended up like moving away. like, like the next I don't know, the next like week or two. It's like, well, damn. All right. Oh, that's there is one time when my brother and I were little kids. My dad painted our room blue, but it was like a like deep blue. It wasn't navy, but it was like deep and it was like royal almost. Like it had this like it came out the blue.
Yeah.
but it was like with the paint. I think that's meant for the bathroom. That's like silicone-ish. So like I'd be a fucking turd, and I would just like scratch at the wall, and then like at some point you just saw like this, because the wall was green before, you just this green hole in the wall paint up been like
monster.
yeah, I was a fucking turd.
That's funny.
Hey, I've learned. I'm better now.
Yes, I have a little, I don't know, like the colors thing reminded me of a story from kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
No, second grade. Miss Hernandez's classroom. There was this ugly ass piece of construction paper on top of a cabinet, and it was like a salmon pink color. It made me gag to look at it. I could not understand why.
But it was like just, did she use it like to decorate and to put color on the?
No, it was just stored up there. Like if you were to forget a cereal box on top of a fridge,
it would just be there.
It would just be there.
Okay, so no one, yeah,
no one was drawing my attention to it. It just like my eyes would stare at it, and I would be like,
why is it there?
Yeah, I would be like, oh, gross. Like I would be so grossed out, and I would go eat my lunch, and then after lunch I would be like,
I gotta go back to that.
like I couldn't stand it.
Wait, how old were you, if you don't mind?
7.
Oh, okay.
Like Damn. I don't know why, but like I don't know, maybe I was building like different taste or something, and that one was just like.
I mean, there's certain conditions people have in their brain where they, colors and even sounds have a unique effect on the brain. So yeah. Who knows? Especially when you're developing, like, something could come up and then not actually be there. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's not that crazy, but at the same time it does kind of,
I don't know, I
think out there.
I think maybe I also associated it with like maybe like
with like fish,
gross stuff, like hospitals, you know how they have those pans and like the cutlery that they give patients. Mm-hmm. I think I've just been like so turned off from that color from having visited hospitals like in my short time span because of my brother. He was born 2 years younger than me, so ever since that hospital visit or in between then, like I would just be grossed out by like the plates looking like salmon pink to me.
That makes sense to me. I mean, I feel like
I don't get it. I don't get such hate for that color at 7. Like, damn.
It was just it's funny that it's just like a piece of construction paper,
and it was just doing nothing. Like up there, like what the fuck's wrong with me?
I'm so sorry. I don't.
No, it's okay. I've never spoken about it because I always felt like such a turd about it. But that's why like it bothered me when my family would buy me clothes that were like pinkish, because I'm like, it reminds me of that time in second grade when I would like gag at that color. And pink is not a victim in all this. Like, oh sorry,
it's okay.
Like this pink or like hot pink or magenta pink, like those are great to me. I love those. But like a salmon or a pastel pink, like it's very testy to my taste. To my brain for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Are you okay with keep talking about color still?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just like looking over there for no actual reason. Like I don't think we were looking at it at the same time.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Is there colors that you like confuse with each other because they're so close in like hue or saturation? I hope that's the right term. I'm sorry for everyone who has to listen to this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no one has to.
That's true.
Anyways,
it's a choice. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. Subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
I want to say no. Maybe at some point, like in the teal zone, like getting confused between like green and blue and teal, it's just like kind of a mess sometimes. Yeah. But since I've worked retail for so long, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on colors, because sometimes the company will make a color that looks almost exactly the same, but it's like labeled green over blue technically, but they all have weird names anyways. Like, but I've had to differentiate between different colors that are very similar in the past
Mm,
to like keep up inventory, and just, I mean, inventory is the main concern, but also like to visually put something together in terms of like the sales floor.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, not hard stuff, but it definitely, I feel like I can tell colors apart pretty well. At least I can't describe them very well, but in my brain is good.
Yeah. I remember doing like different color coding for like MySpace backgrounds.
Oh wow.
That like some things would just be a digit off, and it would ruin me to not be able to pick the right one when I was going back and forth on it. Did you ever have that issue at work where you're like, I just gotta follow the code because I'm not gonna get the color?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, that's probably the best way to go about it, because no matter what name or what classification a color has, the code will be the truest. Um, did you ever want to play music when you were like younger?
I always fantasize about being like a singer or like a musician of some sort. I think I just wanted to have like a talent to sound pleasant without needing to like use in a way like data and information. You know, like for example, when you ask me questions, that involves data and information from my brain. But if I was just to show you like the song that I'm thinking of and that satisfies the question, like I would have always wanted that talent. Cause like for example, you know, when I played like when I was practicing piano at my parents' house when I was younger, my mom, she didn't even ask me what song I was playing. She just said that was nice. That sounds good. That's a good song. It was
Mm.
Moonlight Sonata. And I was like, "Oh, okay, she's not asking me questions what I'm doing. I don't have to explain myself cuz no one here knows what I'm doing. Only I am and I'm playing it and they don't know if I mess up yet." I don't know. And like with music, like the way that I've seen you play and I've seen people play, like the flow is just like, I just want that so much sometimes where I'm just like, I'm giving it my all, but also like not killing myself to deliver something so great that I feel good playing with. With piano, it was nice and easy in a way, like the easiest songs I was playing. Um, because I'm just like, okay, I would memorize the song more than I would read the music. I can't read music for shit.
Oh, okay.
But like I'll like memorize the music and then I'll be like playing it and being like so happy that I remember every single key. And I would and like if I can just like perform that for people without feeling like all kinds of anxiety, I would love that. But I also always wanted to make something that sounded really powerful in terms of words and talking about pain and like issues that I feel like matter, you
Yeah.
know, or like talking about like, you know, shame and sadness and anger and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are yearning to hear about that. A lot of people are struggling with that themselves. I mean, I didn't realize how much I was struggling with shame for a long time. I mean, I still don't realize. Like, I'm probably still holding on to like a lot of shame, but you know, just
Yeah.
one of those things, I guess.
I guess if we're talking about shame, you know, I mentioned we talked about this earlier today about me giving up a certain substance that I've been depending on to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And my the person who's prescribing me, you know, my medication for ADHD, like they're like, we need to wean you off off the substance. I'm just gonna say fucking weed, or you can add in a sound bit. I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, um, they want me to like kind of come off of it, like not necessarily cold turkey with the CBD stuff, but definitely with the edibles
Yeah.
and any type of smoking. And so like yesterday, I was thinking about it when I was home alone and watching TV, and I was watching that show Dope Sick. Not sure if I can say that yet, but anyway, um, I was watching how they were addicted to Oxy and like how they thought they could quit, and then literally Oxy changed their brain's chemistry to the point that their brain was forcing them to need it. And then like I was just sitting there like kind of like ready and like breathing in what I was breathing in, and I was just like, I can quit anytime, I'm fine. And then there was something in the show where it was saying like your brain's telling you you need it and it's gonna convince you of it. And anything else is just gonna be like, no, that's not what you want. What you want is me. And so I've always wanted to be the type of person to be like, I can quit cold turkey. With alcohol, it was easy because I had more than shame. I had the idea that I was going to lose my relationship with you if I didn't watch out what I was doing, you know? And in addition to that, even before that, I had a lot of shame from things that affected me and my friends and things I couldn't remember I fucking did. And that hurt a lot. But with weed, it's like, no one has a problem with me with it. No one makes me feel like shit about it. Everyone's really accepting. And I love that. I want that for everyone.
That does make it hard
Yeah.
to wean off of it, to not use it. Because I just want to like say one thing that kind of grinds my gears sometimes is when people are very adamant about the fact that like, oh yeah, you can't overdose on weed, and like everyone should smoke, like everyone should smoke, and everything will have peace on earth. To that I'm like, no, not everyone should smoke. And if anything, we should be advocating for for people to like, hey, you can do it, but it's not for everyone, and you shouldn't feel like you have to do it. Like you shouldn't feel pressure to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're doing it, you shouldn't be getting pressured to do it by anyone.
No.
And that's
Never.
that's something I think talking about it and being open about it is going to be able to lead to that, hopefully, you know.
Yeah.
Like as a parent, if my kid asks me if I ever smoked weed, I'm never going to say no. Like I'm not, you know, like I don't want to hide it. Maybe I might have said differently a few years ago, but I know now like I probably won't hide it. I'll just be honest and I'll do the best I can, I guess.
Yeah. And you know me. I love weed. I'm probably never going to stop really like saying yes to it, like to an extent, but I am limiting it to a point where I want to feel like I can be okay with it for a night and think, oh, I'm going to get some sleep tonight. And like, just knowing that little fact, because I don't know, I have this like anxiety that says, like, what if one day all the weed is gone from our stash? And then, like, all of a sudden, like, it's a night that I have to go to sleep and wake up early. I will not sleep the whole night. I will not be okay the next day.
Because it does have that effect on you. Like, not everyone really has that effect. A lot of people do use it for going to sleep, but it knocks you out.
It helps me stay asleep, and like with the nightmares, it like, you know, and maybe I mentioned this before on the podcast, but a lot of times when I try to like wean off of weed or cut cold turkey, like that night, like I can't go to sleep at all. And like I'll just be like inventing things throughout the night and not being able to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to like not being able to for like my thoughts, but when I am able to go to sleep, it's like I'm falling into a nightmare.
Oh, wow.
Like I feel that fear already, or the sleep paralysis. And because it's happened so often and with the nightmares I've had, like I'm scared to go to sleep sometimes. And so in my head, my brain convinces itself like, well, you can just stay awake since it's fucking scary for us. We don't like going there. And yeah, so that's mostly like why I'm like kind of dependent on it, because it's like it soothes me enough where my anxiety just chills and I can just sleep without feeling like things are going to come for me in the middle of the night, you know. And
Yeah.
you know, my nightmares, like I feel things touching me, I feel things
Yeah.
like attacking me, stealing me, like,
And
murdering me and my family.
Yeah. When you go through what's it called? When you can't move.
Sleep paralysis?
Yeah, because you've gone through sleep paralysis, and it's usually when you're not like smoking or not using, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly when I'm not like, when I'm really stressed and tense and anxious. But also like recently when I've had sleep paralysis, it's because I would try to cold turkey from the weed. Right now, I'm going to start only using like the CBD drops to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And hope that helps for now. And I also have that melatonin pen that's really helpful.
Yeah.
That's been really nice to have. But the melatonin, without the weed, when I've done melatonin in the past, it's like I go to sleep and I'm fine, but the nightmares are really intense and I can't wake up. So it's like I'm constantly trapped either way. So what sucks is like these are issues I probably need to talk about in therapy too, to kind of like find out what's going on, or at least like find out, or at least kind of find out like coping mechanisms to ease into sleep better.
Do you think if you were going to therapy right now, it would be a lot different than when you were going in the past?
I would say yes, because I have a better insight now of what therapy is supposed to be and the purpose, because the therapy I had before was considered like family therapist. So they kind of deal with, they kind of help you, they kind of just listen to you and they kind of like ask you questions so that you can think about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are more like family practice type of family and relationship type of therapists. The ones that I probably need are more like a psychiatrist that's experienced in both in therapy and like things like EMDR, which I've been recommended to take to kind of talk through the anxiety and kind of help with the depersonalization issues. And so depersonalization and derealization, you know, I don't know if I mentioned it before in the podcast.
I feel like you might have, but I mean, you can go through a brief explanation if you'd like to.
Okay. Well, the therapy EMDR, I forgot what the acronym stands for, so don't quote me. Basically,
Does it treat depersonalization or derealization?
yeah, and I think it helps people a lot with PTSD. But
what is derealization and depersonalization?
Derealization is
It's probably hard to put into words unless you know like the exact
kind of
literature.
derealization. It's like you don't think that the life you're in is real.
Okay.
Like it's unbelievable to you, but you're just existing in it, and you're kind of looking at the world through like a fish, like a gold bowl.
Do you feel like
a fishbowl? Sorry.
people that think we're in a simulation have like that kind of feeling, or is it different?
I feel like they could, because like depends because like I feel like that might be a diagnosable other thing, maybe like a little different, like maybe something by proxy. I forgot the condition. No, wrong condition.
I mean, we could be in a simulation.
See, that's the thing though, it's a theory, but to completely like believe the theory and not feel that anything is real is another thing, because you start to feel like you're not real.
Yeah,
like there's times where I stare at my hands and I can't believe I'm like
what,
like is this, like even if I'm touching it, I'm like, how do I know that's real? Like this is ridiculous. So like with my the way I exist, it's like I don't know if I exist, because it makes me feel like, because I've been made to feel like I wasn't a person when I was a little kid, like I wasn't heard, or like I didn't know how to express myself. So maybe the way that I was treated made me feel like I wasn't real, because I had to escape in order to live through the events I was going through.
Yeah.
And with depersonalization, it's like let's say someone's about to hammer your toe right now. I will lose my shit because I'll be freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, that hurts so much. What the fuck's happening to my husband? Like, I'm worried. But if someone was to come and hit my toe, or like they're doing the action, I'll just stay there. I'll just let them. Because in my head, I'm like, well, I'm not even a real person, so.
Oh, shit.
Why does that fucking matter? I'm like, I can take the pain. Like, there was a day, like a dentist appointment that I went to, and they're like, you don't need that much anesthesia, but I recommend it because it's going to hurt a lot what I'm about to do. I'm like, I don't need anesthesia. Do it. They did it, and it was slightly painful, but like the dental assistant was like, she's brave. Oh, God. And even my mom was like, and I'm like, my brain.
Wait, how old were you?
I think I was like maybe 12 or 13.
Dang. So like, right as you're turning into a teenager, you're like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, dang. So yeah.
I feel like maybe when I was like 5 years old, you know, that story that my parents tell about, like, let me tell it. When I was 5 years old, I was going to get a flu shot and my mom was pregnant with twins. And I did not want that flu shot. I was starting to cry as soon as that needle came for me. And then I started like trying to run away and escape. And so I started hitting everybody, including the doctor and then the nurses. And then my mom, because she was so pregnant, like she couldn't do it. So she called my dad to come and hold me down. And even when my dad tried to hold me down, I still needed to go. I'm like, no, hell no. I'm not scared of him here. Like,
That was
I'm
because
like,
of
I
the
don't know.
needle, or
Yeah, because of
yeah.
the needle. That's it, you know?
And look at you now.
And look at me now. But
Sorry.
no, but anyway, so they were holding me down and they were telling me, like, it's not a big deal. Stop fucking crying, you know, like, and I don't know what else, but I feel like it was really traumatizing because everybody held me down while I was just trying to be free and
Yeah.
expressive. And I don't know if that left some trauma and that's part of it, but I feel like it was a number of events that caused me this. But
Like that was just one memory of being suppressed in a way.
yeah,
Even though I mean, you should be doing that. You know, they should be. What was it? A flu? You said
it was
flu
a flu
shot.
shot.
Okay. Oh, I don't. I mean, I've never gotten a flu shot.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Okay. No, but as a little kid then, like my brain was freaking out. But even after my freak out and everyone was tired of me, the doctor just saw me exhausted and he just put it in. And I barely even fucking felt it.
Well, at that point, you were probably struggling for so long that by the time they
Yeah.
injected you, you're like, wait, that was it?
Yeah. I was just like, that's what I was crying for. But like, you know, looking back at it, like I mess with my parents. Like I feel like they were like, what the fuck is her problem? Like, what is she doing this for? Like, you know, I feel like I heard it for weeks after that too. That I was just like, I guess I should just stay
Like,
still.
it's almost like you start thinking, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Or like, why don't I fit in at
Why aren't I
least?
normal?
Why am I normal? Yeah.
Yeah. And so with depersonalization, like, you, and I'm sure a lot of people out there feel this, is that you don't feel like you're a real person and you can't recognize yourself in a way. And I've told you this where like I'm like, if I can see my face, I can recognize myself sort of. But like if I see my body and you told me to draw out my body, I would not believe it was my body. I don't know what I look like sometimes. And I don't know what my shape is.
I think I feel similar, though. How you're describing it, like I feel like it applies to me in a way. I don't feel like it causes me the same amount of like stress, maybe the thought of, because right, even but although like if I start thinking about it like a little more intensely, like I almost like as I'm talking to you understand the fishbowl effect, where I'm just like, wait, do I even have a head? Like I feel like I can look all around me. I can
Yeah.
kind of see behind me if I think about it. Look, just look at your what the.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going overboard. Sorry.
It's okay. But with depersonalization, there's that issue where you just don't get your body. And it's not that you hate it. It's just that it mentally doesn't matter or is not there to me. Like I right now,
Well,
I'm trying to think of the way I look like. I can't get it. But like I can look at my face and know
is
what my
that
face looks like.
um? I don't want to overshare
You're fine.
something that's yours,
Go
but
ahead.
is that kind of feeling tempting in terms of like hurting yourself or cutting yourself when you were younger?
I would say that was more of like a anger
Okay.
type of thing, or like when, you know, when I spiral, like hurting myself was an easy way to like come back and feel like I was alive again. So
Oh,
I
okay.
guess,
So
so
that
it's
was
a
a coping
symptom.
mechanism
That was a coping mechanism
to.
for having
Oh
depersonalization,
wow.
derealization. Because I feel like when I do spiral and when I lose my shit, and like it's not like I'm out there screaming at people, it's just like I'm just sitting there like thinking about the thing over and over again, and it's making me like so upset and angry, but I can't stop it. So like the thoughts get so overwhelming that like I'm almost like I'm almost in like this high of like just so much emotion that I can't control it and I can't help it and I can't stop it from making me cry. So I just kind of like swoop through it. But sometimes it gets so bad that I don't even think I'm real anymore. That like I just need to punch something. And there's been times where I punched, like even in the last few years, like I've had to punch something or hurt myself.
I thought you were gonna say I punched a kid and like ran away.
Yeah, he was annoying. I'm kidding. No, but like I had to punch a wall because I'm like I can't come back. I felt like I was like just gone, but I was still there mentally, just like thinking horrible things, and some like almost demonic in a way, like I can fucking kill everything right now, and not care. But obviously the consequences are there. I can
Yeah.
think of like burning this trailer down.
Oh
That's
wow.
where my brain goes, and I don't want it to, but that's where it goes. And then like I have to hurt myself to come back.
Is that because I remember
I'm getting better though.
there's you are I mean you're much better, babe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um there's been times where I have similar feelings, or for me, it's not necessarily thoughts. It's more like emotions get balled up, and I don't know how to even talk about what I'm feeling. So emotions that trigger anger, then it just becomes like anger, and all I want to do is destroy. Like I just want to show that I'm destroying to the people around me. And I know there's been times where like I punch something or I throw something, and it's not like I'm trying to punch you or throw anything at you, but it startles you, obviously. And do you feel like it? Like, have you ever thought of it as what you think to yourself and like coming and like becoming reality?
Mm,
Like, does it scare you? Like, if I was to be violent in a way, obviously, but
I mean, yes.
yeah, I
I
would.
mean,
I'm not a violent person, but I do. My anger triggers me to just do really dumb shit.
I mean, I think that you haven't gone to that extreme with me, and I appreciate you not going there.
Good.
Um, from what I remember, you've just been like,
My mom says I tried to kill her with a guitar when I was a little kid.
I remember when you explained that story,
Sorry.
but like I know it was you trying to hit the wall.
Yeah, it was.
Cause
But I was
like,
trying to destroy the guitar.
yeah.
Yeah, I was a dumb teenager. Not even. I was well, yeah, 12, 13. Yeah.
See, if I had done that even close to my mom, she would have sent me to Mexico with my grandma probably, because like to her that would have scared the shit out of her. But anytime I've spoken out about things and like said what I needed to say, even in anger, my parents like they would take it seriously, but at the same time they would be kind of scared because I was a quiet kid, and I was a kid who didn't want to be an inconvenience, and I've lived my life that way. So with not wanting to be an inconvenience, I've always wanted to make myself invisible in a house. And when my mom would just start on like yelling about certain things, or she would just tell us to do things, but she would kind of like degrade our intelligence while she was doing it. Like, so mentally, I would just be like, I'm just gonna get it done because I can't listen to this anymore. I can't hear her talk about us like this. I know we're fucking smart, but goddamn, lady. So my brain went there, but at the same time, I was really scared of what she was gonna do. And so I would just try to hide if she didn't see me when she was going off like that. I would be like, like that Homer Simpson meme where he just like,
He kind of just backs
yeah,
up into the bush.
yes. And so when you raise your voice and you're annoyed at things that are like bugging you around the place, like my brain is telling me like, danger, let's hide away, let's
Oh,
go, let's run away.
yeah.
And so when that happens, when even something as like you getting upset about finding your keys, like my brain just like when I hear things slamming or like
Or,
drawers closing, like I'm just like
yeah.
like I freak out, like
Almost like PTSD in a way, where you're
yeah,
just like, what's going on?
yeah.
Yeah, you're like expecting something negative to happen.
I'm expecting the whole thing to be negative and my fault.
Oh,
And
oh man.
because my parents, like for example, my dad would get mad at us because he wouldn't have the remote available when he was ready to watch TV. and we would have to go out of our way to search for it. And in our parents' head, it's like, they see us, they're little kids, they're like, oh, they're just scavenging and playing treasure hunt with the remote, so they'll find the remote, make them useful. But in my head, when I was looking for the remote, I was losing it, and I was just like, my dad's gonna be mad at me, and they're gonna hurt me, and then they're gonna hate me, so that makes it more likely that they're gonna get rid of me in some shape or another. Because like in my brain, I wasn't that close to my parents for some time, I feel, or like that attached, that I'm just kind of like, they're gonna know I'm an imposter child and not their kid, so anything to piss them off is not gonna work, so I need to get on it, buddy. Like,
I feel like I had like a different thing where I thought my parents were imposters when I was a kid.
oh,
But I
can you
thought,
go into that?
well, I just thought like we were rich and they were pretending that we were poor. I was like, one of these days, they're gonna just show up with an Escalade.
Did you ever go look for the treasure?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was in closets I should probably not have been in. Thankfully, there was nothing I shouldn't have seen that I know of. But yeah, I always thought, because I think that's like from Malcolm in the Middle. There's like a plot line, I believe. But like before I even watched that show, I genuinely thought, well, my parents are rich. They have the money in the walls hidden somewhere. It's like in a vault in the floor. Like we have to break through the concrete to get to it. Didn't make any sense. But that's way different than what you're describing.
No,
but...
I used to think I was adopted.
Oh, dang.
I used to, and like I would get little clues here and there where I felt like I was just completely disconnected from my family.
Mm.
Like, my mom hates the story, but I love it. One time my brother was reading some of her tax documents because he was just curious, like the recent tax filing documents. And on my line, she had foster child.
Oh,
and then my brother pointed it out to me. He's like, Stephanie's not ours. She's a foster child.
You guys adopted her?
Like, and then my sister started going in on it. They're like, oh my gosh. And then my mom's like, don't look at that. No ves eso. ¿Qué chingaderas está viendo ahí? Like, what the fuck are you looking at? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, why would you think you're a foster child? I'm like,
it says foster next to my name.
The paper. It's a government document. What makes me think this isn't real? Like, what the fuck, Mom? And then it was a mistake by the tax lady, but almost at the same time, I'm like, were they trying to cheat the system?
Were they?
But then, like, obviously they got caught by me, the middle child, with middle child syndrome.
Do you think they adopted you?
I don't know.
I'm just playing. They did not adopt you. You're so much like your mom in many ways, and you're a lot like your dad in many ways too.
Yeah, I'm a combination.
Yeah, and you're like your siblings too.
Yeah, I mean, overall, we're pretty decent, good people, I would say.
Definitely.
And I love my parents, but I love that I can at least criticize their actions now. And even when I was a teenager, I criticized the way they acted, especially with each other when they were just being brats to each other and they didn't want to get along. Mm-hmm. I remember yelling at my dad, like, not yelling at him, but I felt like I was yelling. Because he had offended my mother, and I told him, like, that's not how you talk to her. Because if that's how you talk to her, that's how I'm going to think every other guy is going to have to talk to me. So you need to show us what it's like to have a healthy, good relationship. Like, I didn't say it in those terms, but I said, like, ¿Quieres que otro hombre me trate así? Like, you want another man to treat me like that?
I've met women in, like, my workplace where they often get into physical fights with their husbands.
Yeah, that's not right.
And then they often, like, cheat on each other. Yeah. And then when I tell them, you guys probably shouldn't be together, they're like, oh, no, like, that's what couples do. They fight and they stick together. And I'm just like...
I feel like those shouldn't be the fights.
No, exactly.
I feel like that should not be in any relationship ever.
Yeah, exactly. But it just goes to show. It kind of ties into what you were saying.
No, yeah. And so, like, my parents at least allowed me that voice sometimes, and I like that we have that. And so, but yeah, what you were saying right now, like, triggered me because I'm like, I would look at my parents thinking, like, why the fuck are you married if you don't even look happy talking to each other?
Damn.
Like, Like, what's the point? You're just stuck with this person for the rest of your life until you die, and you're supposed to, like, and like, this is how you're existing together? Like, how pathetic is that? You're stuck with a person you don't fucking like, you don't respect them, and you
Get
don't
it?
talk to them like a person. Like, what's the point? Like, you could
Yeah.
spend those years, like, I don't know, getting a master's,
So
having a dog,
it's
a
almost like you're
family.
saying, why did you have us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would resonate with that.
Yeah.
Like the whole "we didn't ask to be born" thing.
Oh gosh, yeah. Me
Although
too.
it's kind of, yeah. It's also, I'm grateful for the life I have.
I'm grateful for what I have, yes, but I feel like no one should ever have to suffer through the horrible things I've been through, and no one should want someone else to suffer as well.
Yeah.
Because I've met people who they're like, these kids don't know how to live, like, they don't know that the world is hard out there, but it's like, we made the world this way. Why would you want them to suffer? What's your fucking problem? That's
Yeah.
not how we progress as human beings. Like, for example, child labor back in the day, the Depression era, even before then, actually. Child labor like was highly used in like textile mills, and the children would go into these giant, like, let's pretend like pianos or sewing machines combined, like
Like strings and wires
they
and
would go in physically and like risk having your hand chopped off while the machine was on because people didn't have safety in OSHA back then.
what?
So there was people kind enough to say like children don't need to be in labor like this.
Yeah.
They should be children at home being educated. Why did adults think I'm going to put my child in a coal mine? I'm going to put him in a textile mill.
Well,
And like I get it
to that
though, like
effect, I feel like um I'm not putting the blame on anyone, but I feel like they might need to work. They might not have parents or someone that can provide for them, or they might have to provide for an ailing family member.
no, yeah.
Or they might have parents that are alcoholics.
No, yeah, and
Like,
absolutely. But there's a thing though.
yeah, they shouldn't be working.
They shouldn't be working, but there's also like, well, if they are working and the money's a thing, why don't we give the kids money before they work and pay them to just go to school to provide for their family in the future with higher
That's what
education?
I think Finland, if I'm not mistaken, they give students $1,000 a month to stay in school.
That's awesome.
That's
See,
pretty awesome.
you
See,
don't have to think about lunch when you have that kind of money. You have to think about like,
well, to me, I don't want to get like political or anything like that, but I just want to say, to me, I don't get what's wrong with that if you're a capitalist,
yeah,
because that just gives more buying power to the whole economy and it keeps people on track. Like, you give your school the time it deserves because you're given the value. Like, we live in a world where money is value,
mm-hmm.
right? And I hate to say that, but it is.
No, and that's the thing. That's the misfortune there. That we created that value. We
Yeah.
created the money system, and it could all just disappear in a second. We could just go back to living without it. But that's the thing, though. We depend so much on it. I mean, even you and I have full time jobs, and there's nothing wrong with working. I
Yeah.
love having tasks to do. But it's like if it's dependent on my survival, I feel like it's just, oh, I'm just doing it to survive.
Yeah.
Like I would love to, like, let's say maybe make Starbucks stuff, like be a barista one day.
Just like to have a crash course trained for like 2 weeks and they're like, I think I did it.
Yeah, but what doesn't help me is that the wage is so low and the customer service there is like, customers towards the customer service people. The customers themselves like freak me out because it's like it's so specific and so fucking entitled. Like those types of stories I've heard about people going to Starbucks. Like I'm just like, these people are working for a low fucking wage, standing on their goddamn feet
The
around
entire day.
syrup all day, and you expect them to get every single order and thing right. And then people confront them when it's the wrong order in a way that's just like really aggressive, like
Yeah.
almost like, how dare you give me the wrong sandwich, you motherfucker. Like as if this person woke up today like, I'm gonna give Leslie the wrong sandwich today.
But what if they were in a hurry to get to work and they were already running late?
No, poor Leslie.
Poor Leslie.
Poor Leslie. Sorry you're late.
Are you sure her name's not Karen?
Fucking Karens.
I don't think Karen's referring to people that way is gonna last, but I think that
I hope it stays that way.
Well-
I hope they take it almost like as a hate crime for me to call them Karens, because like they would at least understand some form of the anger that I feel when they call me like horrible things too. Because I've been called some mean fucking things by people, like the N-word, and I'm not even black or African American.
Well, the one phrase you've told me that when you went to college, like that they repeatedly said to you, or it was multiple times that was said to you, like whether you're a this or a that.
Yeah,
that is so.
Someone asked me, during when I was staying in the dorms in Lake Tahoe. There is a college there. It is real. And someone asked me, like, so are you like a border hopper or like a terrorist? Like, they just asked it that way, as if like, and I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better of how to like even like respond to it. But like, I don't know why I was so fearful, because it was my first few interactions with white people there, where they were my age and we were in the same class, you know. Like over here where we live, you know, it's more like we're around like the rich older white people. But over there it was people who were technically my equal, or at least the same level of education. So the fact that he had the audacity to ask that, like, it was almost laughable, because it was just like, I feel like you practiced that in your head and you thought it was okay to say, and you still decided to say it, you know, like.
That sounds like the type of thing you don't just say once. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, and I don't know if that sounds weird, but I feel like that's something he probably says to anyone that looks that way.
Yeah.
As a joke.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck you, dude. Like, that's not cool.
It's like, why did you think that? And then this same man was the one to tell me, like, oh, my brain might be racist, but my dick isn't.
Oh my goodness.
Like, to me.
Look, I'm a man, and I hate us for that. And I hold myself accountable for his actions just as, I mean, no, not necessarily to that extent, but like every time a guy does something, like, why are you doing this to us?
It's like,
we need to progress, like, not degress.
You know, it reminds me of like the point system from The Bad Place, where you're just kind of like, we just went down -5 again, Brandon. What's your problem? You're like, we're still in the negatives. What the fuck?
We're going to the bad place. We're not getting any better.
No, and like, you know, that's kind of like a sample of what I've gone through, and kind of like explains why I was so hostile when we first started getting together.
Yeah. Oh, you were very I mean, not hostile in a bad way necessarily. You were just very assertive with what you knew you wanted and the kinds of conversations you didn't want to have. Like, you were very much like, if it's about this and this, I'm not even going there. Like, we're not gonna. And I was like, cool. I'm not talking about that.
I appreciate you being so kind to me.
Well, I mean, I just saw it. When we met, it was kind of like a time that was different, I feel like, because I've never had a time where politics affected me as much as they did around that time. So I know why. Like, it was a lot of heated emotions from a lot of people. There still is. It's like, it doesn't seem like that long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've grown a lot. I've grown. Look, I hate to say it, but I think I've grown a little more than you in the time that we've been together, but only because I was so far behind. I was like preschool level. Like, in 3 months, I was able to go from 1st to 3rd grade. You know, you did like 2 grades, but I don't know what I'm saying.
I helped you study.
You helped me study.
You
aced my tests, my exams.
I think because of that you were willing to like talk about these things and change and like hear my perspective. That's what made me stay with you. That you were at least capable of changing. And even though every now and then you would say things like, well, I'm not going to change, that's just me. I'm like, no, I know you're capable of change, because you've changed from A You know, from the first week we fucking met to like 3 months ahead. So I'm like, I know you're capable of change. So when we would talk about it and I would get emotional and like explain to you what I was thinking, you're like, okay, you
I
would listen.
yeah. I associate me being able to change with my feelings toward you.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that goes for all couples, but when I cause you any kind of mental anguish or anything that makes you sad, like I feel sad and I don't want to do that again. So those are the times I hate to say it, that I'm able to change the strongest in terms of like how I behave. And that's why I say you're the one that you were able to get me to change in many ways that I was ready for them when I met you.
Thank
It was perfect timing. That being said, I think when we have conversations about those uncomfortable feelings, that's when we grow the most. Because at least opening up the conversation to something like, let's say I acted really ugly, and then it's just weird tension, and we don't know what to talk. We don't even feel comfortable talking to each other. It's like I feel like there's been times where I go out of my way to be like, "How did I make you feel?"
you. Yeah.
And then once you tell me, I'm like, "Fuck," like. But I think a lot of guys are capable of that. But I do see a lot of non like the ability to talk about your emotions and without being too explosive. I do see it gone from a lot of guys. Like I don't see a lot of guys doing that.
Yeah.
I think that we need more of that.
Yeah. And when you first started asking me, like, how did that make you feel? Or, like, I feel bad about this. Tell me how you feel about this. Like, I knew I had to be careful and, like, hold back, like,
Oh yeah, because
how I used to respond,
yeah,
you know? And, like,
that's a good point to bring up because I feel like if you weren't in the right state of mind, it could have been really hurtful for me to even open that up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, the way I used to be, which I didn't want to continue being that way, I told myself before I got in a relationship with you, like, no, those are toxica habits that you used to have, or toxic habits that you don't want to have anymore. So this is the time to practice that. Like, you can still express the anger, you just don't gotta be like up in their face and like telling them off with your finger and like saying it in an aggressive way where it satisfies my ego, but it makes me it what I used to do, it would satisfy my ego, but it would make you feel like the filth of the earth. And so I didn't want to do that because I'm like, I already know you feel bad. So I want to explain to you what happened, what my point of view is on the thing that happened, and my feelings about it and why I was triggered to feel sad or look sad. Because let's say you would say something mean or like kind of snappy. Like my brain would think like, what does this motherfucker think he's doing talking to me like that? What the
I
fuck?
am a
And
queen.
he's talking and sending me text messages. He loves me, but then he talks to me like this. This is fucking bullshit. Like, I deserve better. And the fact that you're treating me like this, I can just go and be treated like shit from someone else. Like, that's the mindset. That's where it just goes. My brain is always like, well, you sacrifice this to be with this guy. Just go be with the other thing. What was the purpose of this guy treating you this way if you could have just been doing this other thing? It's like my brain's always like doing that. And so when we were starting to do that, when you were asking me like how did it make you feel, or you were willing to talk about it and you were willing to say sorry, I needed to tell myself like, calm down. We need to analyze because we're both emotional. We're both emotionally high. And he's used to being more explosive than I'm used to. And I'm used to telling people off and telling them to fuck off at the end of it and just think that that's the end. And so the way I used to do it, it was like an ending. Whereas when I wanted to talk to you, I'm like, I need to find a way to make this be a long-term thing. I guess how I explained to you with my brother, like, this is short-term boyfriend behavior. What you want to do is have long-term boyfriend behavior by saying sorry and talking about the situation. Because it's like, what do you want? Because, like, in the with the way I was gonna act with aggressively, the way I used to, that short-term girlfriend behavior, because I'm not even giving myself the opportunity to explain my feelings. I'm just being aggressive and hurt. And I can be those things, but I need to let go of the aggression because I've always felt like I needed to be aggressive. And you're not my enemy. You're my partner. And I love you. And you're being nice enough to even ask me about my feelings. Like,
I
who does
appreciate.
that?
Who does that?
Like some healthy relationship shit?
I
Like,
know.
I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't.
I still don't believe it.
Oh shit. Oh, that depersonalization or derealization hits hard, huh?
Yeah.
You're
Like,
like,
I'm
is
just
this
like,
me?
I'm like, someone loves me.
That's how I get sometimes. I can't really believe that I'm alive with you.
Thank you. And I'm glad we're alive in the same timeline within the same age range.
Yeah.
And we're both Leos.
We're both Leos, and it works.
We were.
I mean, I know we both like to be the center of attention in our own ways.
Yeah.
But this works.
We're the center of each other's attention.
Oh yeah. We drifted off. I mean, this wasn't much of an interview, but I guess, I was thinking all these podcasts are kind of an interview with us.
Yeah.
It's like, well, every one that we'll do, people get to know more about us. So in the end, this is just kind of first episode, hoping for the first of many, one person at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, series.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. I do want to say, I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but I've mentioned the book club, that we were thinking of doing a book club, and that is going to happen. So if anyone out there is interested and would want to follow along, we are going to start reading a book called The Giver. I forgot the author.
Lois Lowry?
Lois Lowry? Yeah.
I'll go get it. Wait, I can just Google it.
We're going to be reading that book, giving ourselves about 2 weeks. And we're going to have an episode coming up with it. So we don't know if the episode's going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but we'll announce it. Follow us on Comfort is a Coffin, or follow us on Instagram. The username is Comfort is a Coffin. Follow us on TikTok. We're going to have some stuff coming out on there. Spotify as well. And YouTube. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, we'll keep making content, and we're thinking of expanding in certain ways. Happy to see what things lead to. But yeah, I think it's the start of many.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.
Have a wonderful day.
Have a good one.
Have an excellent day.
Lois Lowry.
Sorry, lady.
We're reading your book, whether you like it.
I don't know if it's a lady.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah, well, pronouns, they're important.